Welcome to Follow Everton. Apologies, I've only just started the stream. Kept you waiting 7 minutes. So very sorry for keeping you waiting. I was pressed live and then the doorbell rang, so I had no way of getting away from it. Just a really, really quick one then today. 3 transfer updates. The first one is surrounding Neal Maupay. Everton striker signed for £15 million from Brighton, scored 1 goal for us in his entire career, and he spent more time trolling us on Twitter, Facebook, etc., and social media than actually playing well for Everton. I am absolutely delighted that he's leaving, although the deal doesn't look particularly good. €4 million for him. It's a loan with a by obligation. Let me just move. Sorry, one sec, guys. Just going to have to go somewhere else. I hope everyone can hear me now. So I was talking about Neal Maupay. It's a loan deal with an obligation to buy next summer. I don't know whether there's any sort of method behind the madness of loaning him and then it's an obligation. We must have to extend his contract by a year, loan him, and then it's an obligation. Does anyone think this is something to do with the way that the deals are amortized? I don't know, the book value of Maupay. If we extend his contract by a year and something, does his book value reduce? And then we get a loan fee. And then we get €4 million next summer, which is about 3.3 million pounds. So if anyone's got any idea about that and what that means, then put in the comments. In all honesty, with Maupay, he's been a complete and utter disaster signing. Signed for 50 million by Kevin Thirlwell. I think we've got to recognise that it was terrible business for a player that didn't suit the system. You look at someone like Beto, although he hasn't hit the world of light. When I watch him, I think this guy actually suits the target man system. Has a bit of quality about him. He just needs to get the composure in the final third. Neal Maupay was one who simply didn't suit the system, and then he would get into the really good positions to score and fluff it or hit it at the keeper. It was so poor. Pokey's just saying it was Lampard who wanted him. Fair enough. Maybe that was the only options we had at the time, but just really didn't suit what we were trying to do. I think as a second striker or as a number 10, then yes, he's technically okay. Hasn't got the pace or the strength. I'm just glad we're not going to have to see him again for a multitude of reasons. I think the guy is a bell end with a bad attitude. He loves calling people out, but then he's the biggest troll going. It's like the worst attitude I can ever recall of an Everton player. But some people are talking about in the comments, talking about Thelwell wanted different players to Maupay, but he signed off on the Maupay signing, so he's just as culpable. What else is going to talk about with Neal? Does that leave us a little bit short in terms of the striking department? Does that mean Calvert-Lewin staying? I'm not sure we can let Calvert-Lewin go and just leave us with Beto as the only recognised striker at the club who's fit. I know Yusuf Trimiti is injured at the moment, but is he really going to all of a sudden come back and start, being to the level we need at Premier League level? So we must have a striker lined up. I think if Calvert-Lewin is also going to go, but there doesn't seem to be any takers for Calvert-Lewin at the moment. There has been interest from Brentford, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Man United, Chelsea. So, there's been interest in him, but obviously the financial figures are just too much. And we've apparently the contract we've offered Calvert-Lewin would have made him the highest earner at the club. So they've they're obviously everyone's not happy with the financials involved. But Calvert-Lewin being offered over 130, I think £100,000 a week. I'm surprised he hasn't taken it. He can have a release clause if he wants. I think he should be looking to reward Everton for the sticking by it during those 2 years. What about some sort of release clause where he signs a new deal and has a release clause to a club, maybe in the Champions League or in Europe, or even just like a reasonable release clause, 15, 20 million, just so we get something for him. Otherwise, he's going to leave on a free at the end of the season, and it's yet another player that Everton have missed out on money for, this time really for no reason other than, you could argue, I mean, it's bad luck with the injuries. It's probably why we didn't want to offer him a contract earlier, but it's just all a mess, isn't it, guys? It's just all a mess. So Maupay out the door, on loan, obligation to buy. I'm assuming there's some sort of loan fee there's got to be, and the €4 million fee at the end of the loan obligation. I hope it's structured that way to get around some sort of financial things at both ends, but it does seem slightly strange as a fan and not understanding the financial side of it. But he's not going to be a big miss, Maupay. But he did score 6 goals for Brentford, 8 in all competitions, and got 3 assists last season. So, we're right to not have had our pants pulled down in terms of not getting something for him, because he does represent some value. Just just not, obviously, it's a big loss. Hi, Cara, she's saying 500,000 loan fee. Well, it's better than nothing, and as long as they cover the wages as well. Is it an obligation that they have to take him, or is it based on certain goals and all this sort of stuff? Sounds very complicated because he's out of contract as well. Okay, so that's the Maupay one done. We've touched on Calvert-Lewin. We'll be back on the Calvert-Lewin trail. I'm sure there's going to be lots of these transfer videos as news comes out. And the other news, as of yesterday, was that Orel Mangala, who plays for Lyon, he'd signed on loan for Lyon in January. Out from Nottingham Forest, having made around 40 appearances for Forest in the Premier League over a couple of seasons. They took him on loan, did quite well for them, and then they signed him on a permanent deal for 15 million, which can rise, and then he's been told he can leave on loan. I don't know whether this is John Textor, who's looking to buy Everton, trying to sweeten the deal, or ensuring that his side stays in the league by giving him players. But Everton have already, of course, done business for Jake O'Brien with John Textor's Olympique Lyon in the summer. So we've been in constant contact, as always, with clubs in France and Germany. They're the sorts of teams we speak to. And so he's a defensive midfielder, 22 caps for Belgium, or 20 caps for Belgium. Technically quite decent as well. He's not just a defensive midfielder. He's an out-and-out defensive midfielder, but he's got a little bit more about him. He's not completely inept on the ball. Technically quite decent. I mean, we need another central midfielder, because you can't have go into the season with just 3 central midfielders, of which one has only just joined. That is a youth product technically coming through, although he has been outstanding. And Decore is your 4th option, who, for me, he just doesn't have the awareness to play central midfield, nor the distribution or quality on the ball. So Decore would have been a one I would have, I've loved what he's done for us, but I would have looked to sell him to Saudi Arabia and get someone in, get some money for him. But Dyche loves him, thinks he's an integral part of the squad and is versatile. So that's what's happening with Decore. He's staying, but he's not really one of the 4 that I would. I wouldn't have considered him one of the 4 central midfielder options. And some teams, you need 5 options really in midfield. If you play a 3 in there, you can't just go a whole season with 3 plus 1 and a couple of youth players. But unfortunately, it also looks like Mangala could be signing for Fiorentina, who stepped in this morning with reports from Italy saying that he's already said yes to the move. So at one point yesterday, Mangala was done, coming for a medical. And as of today, now they're saying he's off to Fiorentina. He said yes to them. Paul Hewitt's also talking about this in the comments. Loads in the comments. Thank you for watching, by the way, guys. So I would be absolutely disappointed, because it's so late in the window now, less than 48 hours. How can we go about making sure we've got the strength and depth in midfield? I don't consider Dele Alli to be one of the options as well in there as well, because he's not played football for ages, and even when he did play football, he was rubbish for several seasons. So are we going to be delusional and expect him to come and hit the ground running? I'm not so sure. Hello in the comments to Mr. Toffees, one of our VIP members, and Adam Thornley. Hi, Adam. He's a contributor to the show from Australia. I'm going to move on in the interest of time to the third business, which is Ernest. I need to get this name pronunciation right. Ernest Nuamah. He is a midfielder, plays for Lyon again, of course. Hasn't been playing for them for too long. He only recently joined them from Mozambique. I think that's another one of John Textor's clubs. So there's definitely something going on there in the multi-club system already, where players are moving amongst them, and we'll kind of get to Everton. But I've watched him on YouTube. Again, I don't know a lot about him. Adam Thornley probably would be able to give you more information on him in due course. If he wants to get on a show with me at some point, then that would be great. Possibly tomorrow on deadline day. Would be very grateful if he could provide some coverage, Adam. But he seems to be a player that's going to give you a bit of dynamism on the ball. He looks like he can go past players, strong, dribbling. I don't quite know what his true position is. Doesn't seem to score a lot of goals or assists, but on the clips that I saw, he was able to beat players with pace and skill, play on the left and right and in the middle. So what we need is pace, someone who can play on the right with a right foot and pace. And we need another central midfielder. And I don't think we're going to get another right back now with Dixon. I think he really rates Dixon. He's even said he did terrific at Spurs. So we might not see that. I'm going to love and leave you guys. I've got somewhere to be, but we'll be back soon. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash the subscribe button for me. Turn notifications on, because all the breaking transfer news is going to be coming on Follow Everton. And smash the like button for me. But guys, to Paul, to Peter, D&G Sports, Adam, Mr. Duggan, Paul, Mark, Eugene, Pokey, Cara, Mark, I've missed your name out, Jason in there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and 210 others of you. So thank you very much. And Sean Dyche's press conference is at 1:30, so should have a match preview tonight. And we'll talk about the press conference then. But until then, take care.